On today's Community Wednesday, let's break down the Riot Shield. I know this comment was a joke, but since Plunder is down and I couldn't do the video I actually want to do this Wednesday, I decided to do this. And it may actually make sense to release it now since it is pretty helpful in Ghosts of Verdansk. So let's break down the stats starting with mobility. To no surprise, it has no ADS, no reload time, and an unlimited mag capacity. So this is going to be always useful in that sense. Its movement is 268 meters per minute, which isn't the greatest, but it is pretty average. Its sprint speed is 336.6 meters per minute though, and you're not going to want to run with this out anyway since you're not really protecting yourself when you're doing that. You're better off protecting your back. Its strafe speed however is 3.05 meters per second, which is actually pretty decent. This is about as good as many of the faster SMGs, and for some reason its sprint out and attack sprint out times are 0. So if you're sprinting and you click, it's going to instantly start the animation. And its stability is non-existent because you can't really aim down its sights. And of course, because it's a melee weapon, it doesn't have a bullet velocity. And lastly, its rate of fire is 43.48 rounds per minute. So its mobility ends up being 36, which is pretty decent. Its recoil, you may think this is a melee weapon, it doesn't have recoil, but it actually does. If you hit something and then follow it up extremely quickly, it'll do an extra long range lunge. This, however, blocks your ability to turn your camera, and it's going to go straight for that. So if for some reason you need to turn, you're kind of screwed. But in normal situations, you can hit someone up to 1.5 meters away, so it gets a recoil score of 1.5. Now for its damage. Since it's only useful under 1.5 meters, that's the only damage range it gets. Its damage values are the same no matter where you hit. However, remember how I said that if you get that second hit, it's locking on? Well, it also deals extra damage. On your first hit, you'll do 60 damage, but on your second hit, you'll do 190, meaning this is a 2-hit down. Of course, if you wait too long between your hits, you're not going to be able to get this 2-hit down. And even though it is a 2-hit down, it does still take 2.07 seconds, including the animation times. So it gets a damage score of 6.64. And when we add up all the categories, it gets a final score of 44.14. However, we gotta remember that this is not primarily an offensive weapon, it's defensive. If it's on your back, where it's gonna be the most time, it's gonna be protecting you from any damage that comes from behind, so any ambushes, you have a greater chance of surviving. And if you're pinned down and you don't know where the enemy is, you can just swap to it, and look through the window and try to figure out where they're shooting from. This is an extremely niche playstyle, but in Ghosts of Verdansk, it's kinda helpful. In this mode, visibility is pretty low, so not many people are playing the long range game, which means there's a higher chance of you being ambushed when you're moving around, or that you'll run into a bunch of campers. And it's kinda helpful to have a shield at this point. And then there's always the chance that a ghost is gonna try to attack you, but it's gonna be hitting your Riot Shield on your back, not you. And when you notice this, just switch to your shield and just smack it down. This way you can preserve your plates, because you can technically kill a ghost faster with a normal weapon. But it's probably going to be taking 1, 2, or maybe all of your plates. So if you're not in the danger of being flanked, then just use the Riot Shield. But Ghosts of Verdansk isn't going to be here forever. And when we go back to normal Warzone, will it still be useful? And honestly, it depends. Is it worth slotting in one of your loadouts? Probably not. But if it's early or late game and you happen to find one on the floor, it may be worth it. Just having the Riot Shield on your back can really save your life. I can't tell you the amount of times that I should have been down, but I got away because they were just hitting my shield. But this does mean that you can only use one primary weapon. And while it is nice to have an all-purpose weapon cannot cover you in every single situation. For example, if you use the Cold War AK, its mobility is pretty good, it can stretch out decently, and it can be still useful at close range. However, most SMGs will be able to beat it, and many weapons like the EM2 will be able to beat it at longer ranges as well. However, if you're playing quads or possibly even trios with a very well coordinated squad, it may actually be worth for one of you to run it. If you know someone's camping with a shotgun or just any other close range weapon at the top of a building, just holding the stairs really well, you can just send your Riot Shield guy to soak up the damage while the rest of the squad stacks up behind them and then just pop up and down the guy. That way, no plates are wasted and you down the guy pretty fast. However, if a thermite or a Molotov or even a Semtex grenade come your way, you may have a problem. And that's the primary reason I wouldn't recommend this for solos, because there's nobody to revive you if you do get stuck, and if you do get stuck, that's an instant down. But that's the Riot Shield. Have you used it recently, or at all, ever? And as always, if there's any weapon, build, or part of the game you want me to break down, let me know and you may see it on the next Community Wednesday. And don't worry, your Modern Warfare 556 AK is coming next week. But that's the video. If you enjoyed it or it's helped in any way, let me know by leaving a like. If you got any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section down below. And if you want to make sure that you never miss another video, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.